The inputs that we need to make sure we're filling in here are really just our joint venture assumption. So what's going to be the equity split between our LP and our GP? What are going to be the prefs at our different hurdles? And then of course, we'll want to calculate the splits. And so we're just going to make some pretty basic assumptions here around, what we want to do to calculate, the difference between the LP and the GP cash flows. I'm going to assume this is a 90-10 deal where our partner, which could also be referred to as the GP or our operating partner, is only going to put in 10% of the cash, meaning we're going to put in 90% of the cash as the sponsor. Next, let's assume there's a 12% pref as our first hurdle, 16%, and then 20%. And you'll see I've already filled in the 500%. That's just going to cap off our last hurdle. And then in terms of the promote, let's do a 15 after a 12, a 25 after a 16, and a 40 after a 20. These are really just assumptions, no rhyme or reason here. I think these are generally within the realm of a value add deal. But again, we're just making some assumptions here. And this is something you would refine as you move throughout the deal. So now let's go ahead and calculate our splits. And so for hurdle 1, because there's no promote, we know that there's no promote, and we know that we're just going to have the cash flow come out pro rata up until our pref. So at this point, this splits here, and I should put this in parentheses. This is the GP split. This is how much of the cash flow is going to the GP. And so we know up until the pref, the GP is going to get their pro rata 10%. After that, though, the GP is going to collect their 15% promote, and then they're also going to get their pro rata percentage of the post-promote dollars. And so that's going to be their pro rata 10% times post-promote dollars, which is going to be 1 minus our promote. And so in the second hurdle, our GP is going to receive 23.5% of the cash flow. Now let's just make sure we have our anchors correct, and then we should be able to just drag this formula. And so we want to be able to drag this, that works, and we want to make sure we've got our equity percentage anchored. So let's go ahead and drag that formula. And so we'll see with the assumptions we've made around this waterfall structure, if we get into the fourth hurdle, the GP is going to be earning 46% of the cash flow, even though they've only invested 10%. These are really the only assumptions we need to make to be able to go in and model our waterfall. So now let's jump over to the model tab.